Brett, let's just jump right into some hockey, though, as we had a very good weekend for hockey while the NBA was on their All-Star break. The NHL continued, and there were some fantastic games. We're starting to see some disparity of these teams at the bottom of their divisions, though. Some teams look like they might be phoning it in, maybe?
You think, Higgins? I don't know, but I definitely think you're right. The cream is rising to the top, and the whatever sinks to the bottom is sinking to the bottom fast, and that's kind of where you'll find me, Higgins. The New York Islanders are really good this year, Higgins. It pains me to say that. The Rangers, we're okay. I'll give us okay. Um, you look away, but I'm gonna say okay. And the Devils are not very good, and the Rangers actually just beat up on them, so that's how you know they're not very good. So I think the Islanders, who actually in their last game against the Devils not too long ago, just a little bit over a week ago, only won by a goal. I think they get an empty netter this time, Higgins, and I'll take that my shot at the empty netter for plus 125 odds.
I was intrigued by that line, too. I was intrigued by that one. The Devils haven't really been able to put the wheels in motion quite yet this season. Kind of reminds me a lot of the Buffalo Sabres. They have some pieces. They're young. They're just not quite. The chemistry's not quite there. They don't have the full roster to fight with multiple lines, in my opinion. I'm gonna stay with that division though, and the Washington Capitals against the Philadelphia Flyers. I expect is going to be a fantastic game. They did play recently in a one-off, a rescheduled game from earlier in the season, and the Capitals did win 3-1 in Philadelphia. Each of these two teams did have a game after that. Now they're going to revisit each other again, so it's almost like a back-to-back between the two of them. Not even quite a full week's difference since the last game that they played, and I don't expect Philadelphia to lose at home again against the Capitals. If this game was in Washington, I'd probably be on Washington and take them, but I'm going to be on Philadelphia on the money line at minus 105. The Flyers are 7-3-2 at home, so they play much better in Philadelphia, obviously. I mean, Washington's good on the road with an identical record on the road that Philadelphia has at home, but I'm taking this because I think the home team's going to win. Like I said, if this was in Washington, I'd be taking the Capitals in this scenario.
Yeah, well, it's because Kevin Hayes is at home, so he's going to score. So the Flyers are going to win. That's what happens, Higgins. Every time the Flyers are home, Kevin Hayes scores. Those are the rules. I don't write them, but that's the rules.
I don't make them, I just follow them.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
So that's an interesting game. Also, just to be clear, I am also a Flyers fan. I've mentioned this on different podcasts in the past, though. So we mentioned it with the. We're up front about when we are partisan. I went to Syracuse. Brett went to Syracuse. I grew up rooting for the Flyers. Do I obviously want them to beat the Capitals anyways? Yes. But if this game was in Washington, like I said, my money would be on Washington because I truly believe the home team's going to win in this scenario. A spot where I don't really know who's going to win, but I expect there to be a lot of scoring. The Chicago Blackhawks against the Dallas Stars. And if you just look at how these two teams play, 5.5, just not enough. The goalie play isn't strong. They both have offenses that are getting in sync and are very capable of putting up at least 3 goals in a game. And the last time that these two teams played, Dallas won 6-1 on Monday night or on Tuesday night. So I'm going to take over 5.5 at plus 105. Brett, this has been a theme of ours all NHL season. If there is an over 5.5 that has positive value, it's hard for me to stay off of it, especially when the due diligence is there of these teams covering their overs more than they hit their unders. And on average, Chicago scores 3 goals a game, Dallas scores 2.8. So right there, that would technically hit the over if they just hit their averages, even though you
There
can't
you
really
go.
score point 0.8 of a goal.
Although the pointed goal would be nice, Higgins. That would really help you out. But yeah, I agree, Higgins. You mentioned it. The over 5.5 with plus value. That's something you and I both like, and I've actually bet on Blackhawks Stars over 5.5 on this podcast before, so I'm glad you get your shot at it as well.
Dallas on the road, they're only 2-5 against overs. They hit a lot more unders when they're on the road. But luckily, this game's in Dallas.
Yeah, there we go. Good news.
Before we get out of here, Brett, there's just like there's a loaded slate in the NBA on Thursday. There's about 5, 6 games that we didn't talk about in the NHL. Any of those stand out to you that you just couldn't find value to place a bet on?
Higgins, there's some interesting ones, I think. Predators Hurricanes should be fun to watch. Canadians Flames should be interesting. I think if you're looking to parlay some winners, the Lightning should beat the Red Wings. Bruins, I'd probably take over the Rangers. The Penguins over the Sabres. Maybe, I didn't try this, but maybe you could parlay those three for plus value. That might be something to look into.
That Tampa Bay Detroit game intrigued me, partly because Detroit is the home underdog, and on the puck line they're plus 1.5 at, I believe it was plus 115. I don't trust Detroit. I've said this a number of times. I just don't trust Detroit, so I'm staying away from them. But it's always interesting when you see the puck line and the team that has the minus 1.5 favorite spot has juice. You're not going to get the full return. Like it's really ambitious for a sports book to say I don't think that Tampa Bay is just going to win by one. I think that they're going to win by at least one, and that's why your return on that bet is not going to be good. But you look at them at minus 385 on the money line. I agree that is definitely screaming parlay partner to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first team I'd be looking at for my parlay partner.